Welcome, everyone. This is the Swords of St. Michael Network, and we have for you tonight a really interesting just throwdown. If you're not familiar with what stigmata is, we're going to get into it tonight, so don't go anywhere. Hold your spot right now because it's going to get bumpy in here. And so we're going to start. So we are looking at, oh my gosh. Jacob was working on technical stuff. Sorry about the bumps, you guys. It is crazy. I think we got the stuff going for, we had issues with it bumping last week. And now we've got, I think, clear streaming. My name is Sister Farrah Rose. I hope everyone can hear me. I want to say hi to everybody in chat. We are doing the movie review for Stigmata, the 1999 version with Patricia Arquette, and it was a wild one. The movie is basically, I'm going to give you the whole outline first before we, get started into the throwdown of the movie review from a demonologist perspective regarding exorcism, deliverance, etc., etc. I want to say hi, big shout out to everybody in chat. Thank you for joining me. We have moderators in chat. If you have any questions, please put everything in all caps so that we can see it and the moderators can remind me to answer the questions. Athena, Ann, thank you so much for joining me. Ash, great to see you. Gemma, Rosalie's in the house. I can't believe she's on time too. Oh my gosh, I think that makes it twice, Rosalie. As I said, my name is Farrah, Sister Farrah, professed lay Franciscan minister. Tonight's version is about spiritual warfare, the spiritual combat, and knowing what it is that our culture puts out there as normal. Oh gosh, thank you, Ash. Super chats. Oh, thank you very much. I'm hoping if you get something out of this, that you will click down below, click the like button, which will throw it up in the algorithms, and subscribe. There's so much information on this channel that can help you learn about spiritual warfare, learn the prayers, learn some alternative Latin prayers. Oh, hello. Thank you so much. Truth versus fact. I got another super chat. Woohoo! I love it. And that emoji is so cool. The little heart's just like pounding out. Oh my gosh, just like my heart. That's so sweet. Thank you guys for the super chats. Hey, Romans, good to see you. What we're looking at is we are looking at a cultural phenomenon. Horror movies have overtaken our culture and our society. If you look at societies that basically were so-called civilized. I mean, there was a variety of entertainment, from street entertainment to fine entertainment, from poetry, music, and song. We have become obsessed with murders and rapists and, demons and ghosts and dragons. And we're constantly putting them in these movies to scare ourselves. Now, a lot of people might argue psychologically that we need to have our fears confronted, and that's why we like these things. I think it's a little bit darker than that, but I'm not going to talk about it till the end of the show. So for right now, thank you so much for the super chats. I'm so glad to see everybody. We're talking about Stigmata, the 1990 movie. And as always, I've got to get us prayed in because you know what? No glitches allowed tonight, which I already had some of my pages goofed up. Thank you guys for your patience. And we're going to pray ourselves right in. Gloria Patri et nomine Patri et Spiritus Sanctus, sic era in principio et nunc et semper et saecula saeculorum. Sancta Michael Arcangele, defende nos in prelio, contra nequitiam in insidiis diaboli esto presidium. Imperit ele Deus supplicis de pecamur tuque, princeps maletia celestis satana maliosque spiritus malignos, qui et perditionem animarum, pervegantur in mundo divina virtute in infernum detrude. Amen. Oh gosh, I don't know why it did that again, you guys. I think I just hit the wrong slide again. I'm so sorry, but that's okay. It keeps it interesting, doesn't it? And you guys know, if I didn't have Jacob, I would be so lost. Amen. So I always say the little St. Michael prayer before we get started, because you know what? There's just so many cockroaches out there just waiting to destroy our happiness. Hello to everybody in chat. This is a live version, so you will see me saying hello to super chats. Thank you very much. Hello to people as they join. And as usual, I do have moderators in there. If you have a question, make sure you put it all in caps so that I can read it. Please like, subscribe to support. There's links below. You can become a Patreon member and support me monthly too. And it's not just me, it's a ministry. And we serve a lot of people with a little bit of everything, medals, prayers, visits, that sort of thing. And it's all about what? Deliverance and exorcism. So, in 1999, Stigmata. This movie is set, like I said, I'm going to give you the overview before I start picking it apart. When I looked at the generic description on Wiki about the movie, hi, oh my gosh, Athena, thank you so much for the super chat. When I went to Wiki to get the descriptions, super chats are so nice. Thank you. God bless you guys. And I'm wearing Saint Raphael tonight, personal reasons. Wiki has its idea of what the movie was put out by, and this was by Metro Goldwyn Mayer. This movie was intended to be horror, and good to see you, Anne. I'm glad you're back. It was intended to be horror. It was kind of about possession, kind of about exorcism, and underneath this, what we have is, and it got some really bad reviews too. Huge budget, bad reviews. We have this, in my estimation and in my observation, almost a direct attack on the establishment of the Catholic Church. And I'm not saying that because I'm cradle Catholic. I'm saying it because of the way that the characters are portrayed, the way the movie portrays the office of exorcism, the way the movie portrays the office of, extraordinary miracles, that sort of thing, the stigmata, okay? That kind of, and we're going to, as I parse the movie out and go over the movie on, what's demonic, can demons really do that or not, I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 cents, and I hope you don't mind, since this is a movie review and I am Catholic. I do like to look at it from that perspective and show you the value in the truth versus kind of the gross exaggeration. So we have a movie, we have an atheist here, is our protagonist, played by Patricia Arquette. She is a young woman, a pierced beautician, cusses, not living in sin, but, committing mortal sin with, whoever, wherever, drinking, smoking, just kind of a loose moral lifestyle. And she is basically, she's just, in the thick of things. She's not religious in any way. They portray her as an atheist. She has no desire. We don't know if she's baptized or anything, but she has no direct connection to anything spiritual or holy. Now, our protagonist support, Gabriel Byrne, or is it Daniel Byrne? Excellent actor. He basically is the priest, Father Kiernan, that is sent to investigate when there is a witness by a priest of what this hairdresser, her name is Frankie, goes through. She goes through the stigmatic marks on her body of the wounds of Christ. And if you're new and you do not know what stigmata is wounds either in the hands or in the arms, that bleed and basically smell like flowers or almonds, wounds in the forehead where Christ was crowned with thorns, wounds that were in the feet that might bleed or only bleed when touched. Padre Pio, St. Francis, a number of saints had these wounds. And the feet, of course, were the nails, and the last one was in the side. And the interesting thing about this movie, wow, I got another super chat. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. Roman, thank you so much. You guys, wow. Thank you for supporting this little Catholic ministry. I'm so blessed. In Stigmata, it is well known and well investigated within the Catholic Church and in Catholic circles that it is rare. It is investigated for many months before it is even determined to be accurate. And as portrayed in this movie, which was a very loose, hasty, even look at the supposed stigmata, people that get and receive the stigmata are believed and observed and recorded to live a very exemplary, holy life. Or in other words, they don't commit any sins. They live a life totally dedicated to God. Prayerful life, servant lifestyle. Their whole life reflects exactly what they are: a servant, dedicated, willing to die for Christ at any moment, or willing to die for Christ in anyone at any moment. Let me clarify that. So a stigmatist is a rare thing. There was a great post on Facebook today by a friend of mine in England about St. Catherine Emmerich, who basically not only bore the stigmata, she also was able to survive only on the Eucharist. And there's a special word for that too. Well, this is what the faith understands as stigmatics. And in this movie, we have a lady that is supposedly receiving the stigmata wounds, and we don't know why she's got them. We have a priest that investigates, and then at the end we have an exorcism. And the way this is presented is really different. So we're going to go through it and we're going to go, okay, can demons really do that? All right. So let me get my slides up and we're going to rock this house out. So sit tight, you guys. Now we have the priest Andrew Kiernan, like I said. This is him right here. The movie begins. I know. Thank you, Romans. Thank you. I'm going to go through everything. And yes, oh, Matt, thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you, Matt. You guys are so wonderful to me. God bless you guys. I got another super chat and I had to say thank you, folks. What we're looking at is, this is Father Kiernan here, all right? This is how the movie starts. He goes to Bella Quinto, all right, to investigate, all right? Father Kiernan is investigating a rare, miraculous event, which is not seen very often. But we have a statue right here that is bleeding blood. And the statue in Bella Quinto is supposedly bleeding blood due to the fact that there's a very holy priest, all right, one of these guys right here, this guy right here that is on, let's see, this would be my right, so maybe it'd be your left. This holy priest resides in this church, and all of a sudden, the doves came to this church, and people are, coming from miles away, and they're reporting that the statue is bleeding blood, and they're amazed, and they're just incredulous. So Father Kiernan, Andrew Kiernan, comes to investigate, and this is where it all begins. The older priest, the one with the beard on the far right or left, depending on where you're seeing it, he dies. So when Andrew Kiernan gets there to view the statue, to investigate for the Vatican, because he is, quote unquote, a scientist priest, he finds that the priest, they're having a funeral for him. And the people are very wary because they know once the Vatican gets involved, they are going to cover all the bases because they want to be very super careful about what people are worshiping. Now, we're going to keep this to the movie, okay? So, I'm just going to put my little 2 cents in at the end. When we look at the movie, we're looking at a statue that's dripping blood. Andrew Kiernan walks up to it, and there's wax. It's dripping wax, too. And he's going into this beautiful, beautiful, holy sanctuary, this gorgeous church, and he's scraping stuff off and he's putting it in little bags. And he's telling the priest there, I've got to box the whole thing up and take it back to Rome. And he said, you can't do that. the people would be lost. They venerate this statue. They love it. So as he's talking to this priest, the dead priest that is laid out in his coffin, holding his favorite rosary, just like Pio, it was a very beautiful, very rustic wood rosary. A little boy runs up, grabs the rosary, and runs out the door. All right. Meanwhile, Father Kiernan here is scraping stuff off. Doves are flying out from behind the statue in this church. I wanted to talk to you. Can demons do this? Can demons do this? Can demons enter into a beautiful, holy church? Can demons make statues cry? Can they make the blood appear? Can they make wax drip? Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, this is why cardinals and bishops usually first do not approve sites until it has been thoroughly investigated. And one of the reasons is demonic interference is everywhere. God never said, and Christ never said, that the devil would never enter the church or the devil would never play games with each and every one of us. He said the gates of hell would not prevail. Big difference, okay? So don't be shocked when you hear me or somebody else tell you this is demonically possible, and yes, it happens. Beautiful, holy churches, okay? It happens. So we got through that here. The rosary that was stolen is in a little boy's hands. He runs out to the streets where this lovely-looking blonde lady is shopping for rosaries. And he hands it to this woman and he says, what does he say? He says, not dígame. He didn't say, look, he didn't say, talk to me. He said, a ver. And he gets this woman's attention. She says, ¿Cuánto cuesto? You know, what do you want? How much do you want for it? He's like, $5. And so he's like, $5. The guy trying to sell her rosaries is probably giving them away for centavos. And this guy's got $5. So he's like, no, that's too expensive. She gives him the money. This is Frankie's mother. Okay. This is our protagonist. She is the one that is going to be receiving this rosary. Father Kiernan, who has been given the whole file on this priest who had these miracles surrounding him. He had a form of stigmata in his hands. Like Pio, he kept his hands completely covered because his wounds bled, which is really kind of not really spoken of that much, but he did have the file. So that's another reason he was there. There was so much to investigate and confirm that it needed to be verified and validated. So we have this rosary, and it's about to go across the ocean to the United States of America to Frankie's house. And the mother, of course, you know how moms are when they go and they think of their kids. They're getting trinkets and postcards and candles and all kinds of stuff. So this lands on Frankie's doorstep. Now, welcome, Julian Vivas. I'm so glad you joined us. I love it when I get new people. Hi, Billy. I'm so glad you're here. The package arrives on Frankie's doorstep, and I really don't want to go to this next slide yet, because what happens is when I go to the slide, you guys are going to see all the good stuff. So I'm just going to go to the intro, and I'm going to talk about it. So what we have is we have this package that arrives on Frankie's doorstep, and I've really removed a lot of the graphic images because I really don't want you seeing a lot of the violent stuff. And it was very, very, very some of this stuff is very invitational, okay, occult wise and everything else. Divine mercy, prayers going out to you. Let us know at the end too, and we'll pray for you, I promise. What we're looking at is a package that arrives with this rosary in Frankie's apartment. And it just looks like, regular little box, that your mom would send, a little bit bigger with goodies inside of it. Frankie's asleep. I have to add that she has just been sexually intimate with her boyfriend. The boyfriend is gone. And she's laying there and she's hearing some kind of whispers or murmurs. Something in the box is murmuring. For all of you that have been following my channel and following me, we know, yes, demons act like that. Let's just break it down here for a couple seconds. Any object, whether it is a cup, it is a necklace, it is a rosary, any object that one of the lower level demons can look at and follow, because demons are preternatural creatures. They follow us by watching to see what we attach ourselves to. And that's how they get in our head. That's how they get in other people's heads that love us. And this is how they basically step into our lives. Curiosity, number one. Sin, number two. And in this instance, you would not think that demonic could affect something that was prayed with, that was loved with, that was so holy. Yes, it can happen. And in God's perfect will, as we know, all things serve the glory of God. Even the evil and the hell of this world serves the greater glory. Never forget that, no matter what. I want to welcome another new person because we get somebody else here new too. Lori, you're not new, but welcome anyway. Divine mercy, please remind us for prayer. This rosary had something attached to it, and we just don't know what it is. The movie is intimating that it is this holy priest. I'm going to go into that too at the end of the movie. Would a holy priest be allowed by God to attach itself to a holy rosary? You know, I don't know about that. Andrew Kiernan, they switched to him. He is back at the Vatican and says he left the statue there, but he brought his samples. He said the people couldn't handle it. They would not. They would have rioted in the streets. And the cardinal says, wait a second. They need to worship God in our church, not a statue. And he said, well, this would have disturbed. He says, why don't you go and, you know what, just... I want your report. He was really angry with them. Just go be in solitude. Leave me alone. I want the report and I want that statue. He's like, I can't do it. So, needless to say, Andrew Kiernan, he's upset. Now we go to Frankie. Frankie gets a call from her mother and she's like, hello, mother. And mom's like, how'd you know it was me? She's like, nobody else rings like you, mother. Mothers. The movie's funny. Is this demonic? Nah, it could be. But in this movie, no, it's not. So she takes the call from her mother. Her mother says, go open the box. Go see what I sent you. I sent you all these little goodies. And she opens it. And do I have a rosary handy or something? But I mean, I don't. But she opens this box and she's like, what is this? And she's like, that's a really special rosary. That was a rosary from this very famous holy priest who had the stigmata, blah, 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 you know, yada, yada, yada. And she's like, oh, okay, that's nice. She drops it on the table and she says, okay, Mom, love you. Bye. Good to see you, Christopher. I'm so glad you came. Frankie is now, whatever, she's hopping in the tub, lights all her candles. Now, this is a really, really, really wicked scene. In this scene, we have a young woman, and they don't show her fully nude or anything like that. They, at the beginning of the movie, that's why, I don't know, did I tell you guys, I really would not recommend you watching this movie without a lot of holy water. There's a little bit of nudity, a little bit of fornication, a lot of blasphemy. The important thing that I want you to know, though, is a lot of people think that this movie is just perfectly okay for viewing. And it's got a lot of elements in it that really, it's an invitation in your head to not think properly, okay? So back to this box, Frankie is in the tub. Like I said, we don't see her completely naked, but we do know that she is in the tub and she's enjoying, you know, her bath, lots of candles. I'm sorry, but I don't know who can take a bath with 100 candles in the same room, I'd be freaked out thinking I was going to light my house on fire, okay? Please, people. I mean, 2 candles? Yes. A room full? She gets pulled underwater. This is where the fun begins. The rosary's unpacked. We believe there's something attached to the rosary. She's under the water, and we see blood flowing. There's literally blood sipping in the water from the wounds in her arms. She's been literally, totally. They show the nails. And this was an interesting part of the movie. They showed the nails going through her arm, and they showed the crucifixion of Christ. So all throughout the movie, they actually, shall I say, they interposed, they interplayed these images together as if this was a holy thing Frankie was going through. And I remember when I first saw this movie, and I'll tell you why I was interested at the end too, I was just like, that really wasn't necessary. If they're saying that the rosary is possessed, how do we need to associate a female being crucified with Jesus? I mean, we know they crucified both men and women. I think it was the way that they created the movie. Now, can demons do this? Yes, they can. Do they do it? Not very often. Because, number one, this would have to be a very, very strong, powerful, higher-ranking general, higher demon to do this. And there would have to be, Russ, say hi to Dad. Thanks for the super chat. Thank you, Russ. Good to see you. This would have to be a permissible will for that demon. Oh, Christopher, thank you. You guys are so wonderful. Thank you. God bless you. I'm getting super chats and I have to say thank you. Thank you. God bless you. The whole concept of piercing flesh, making someone bleed, that is only to some of the highest level demonics, and usually doesn't happen until the demon has already infested, possessed, and is done with a human. Not at the beginning. It's very rare at this level of infestation for a demon to, shall we say, drown his vessel. Not a good idea. Lemon and water, folks. Thank you, guys. Now we're going to go to some of the scenes so you can see what's going on next. And like I said, this is not, I'm not putting graphic stuff up, you guys. Frankie goes to the hospital, which I do not have in here, but she went to the hospital. The doctors are just like, they don't believe her. They think she's the one that caused the wounds. They think that, they seriously believe that she has problems. They put her through these tests. They send her to a psychologist. They put her under a 24-hour watch. They wrap her up and they say, ooh, it doesn't bleed unless I touch it. Yes, demons can do that. Why would they do that? Well, let's say that they needed to discredit her. Maybe they would do it. The movie was, they wanted to show the progression of her literally getting the stigmata. So this was the beginning. They send her home. She goes to work and she goes into freak out at work because she sees a woman across the street that is throwing a baby in the street. And the whole concept of this came about, as you know, she was sleeping with her boyfriend. She thought she might be pregnant at the hospital. No pregnancy. So what you're looking at here now, hey, Scott, long time no see. All right. Good job. You made it. This is so cool. I'm so glad to see you guys all here. This gal, Frankie, she's just a mess. She runs out. She didn't really stop the woman. There was no woman. Everybody in the beautician, at their beautician's place where she saw this, it was like, no, non-existent. Nothing happened. Nothing existed. Her girlfriend takes her home. And this is why Andrew Kiernan steps in. The priest steps in. On the way home, they live, I'm thinking it's New York. They hop on the subway. And on the ride home, Frankie sees an older priest and says, "Are you Andrew Kiernan?" And he says, "No." He says, well, I've been expecting him. And she goes up to Nun, grabs she's got this big cross, grabs it, rips it, and throws it. And then all of a sudden, the whole subway starts rocking back and forth. So you have a subway that's rocking back and forth. Everybody's trying to hold on. And this young gal, Frankie, played by Patricia Arquette, she's holding on to the subway, and she's getting the scourging of the pillar, all the whip marks on the back. Now, this is videotaped. This is seen by a priest, and this is seen by a nun. And this recording is how Andrew Kiernan gets involved, because she goes back to the same hospital. She's got to go see the same psych people, and she's just dressed up and sent home. So in walks Andrew Kiernan. And Andrew Kiernan is told by the Vatican, by this cardinal, that one of his priests in America saw this supposed scourging that looked like a whipping, looked like it was holy, and it was so disturbing to the nuns that he better get there. So he gets there, and he goes to interview her, because he wants to figure out, who is she? What does she do? She's, he knows nothing about her other than tracking her down to where she works. Frankie meets him at the beautician place where she works. At her beautician station, she's getting ready to go in and take care of things, and everybody's whispering about her because they really think she's just lost her mind, the invisible people getting these wounds. And she uses the word GD in there, as it's a GD church. And everybody shuts up because the priest walks in. Now, can demons do that? Can demons actually create, can they create in someone the knowledge to confront another human being so that they might know who they are? You got that right. They can do that. This is the beginning of an infestation that she's not even aware of. This is what happens when somebody is going to become possessed. They develop knowledge that they can't possibly have. Even though she was wrong in this instance, if it was truly demonic, it would have been smack out of the ballpark, targeted right on. Oh my goodness, Christina, good to see you. Welcome, Christina. Our Christian Mysticism Paranormal Events. Yes, good to see you. And thank you so much for all the comments, you guys. And thank you, moderators, for working so hard to keep all the distractions at bay. We have now Andrew Kiernan's on the scene. He says, okay, I want a haircut. Gets a haircut. They go sit down. And he begins to ask her, what is your faith? I don't have any. You don't practice anything? No. Do you have any beliefs? No. Do you believe in God? No. And he's like, well, I guess we're done. And she says, what do you mean we're done? She said, in other words, I've got to deal with this and you can't even help me? I don't know what's going on with me. And he said, there's really nothing I can do. She goes home. Before he decides that he's going to leave her, he stops by her apartment. And this is when, all of a sudden, he finds out that she is able to write in Aramaic. And this level of writing has not really been common or popular since the time of Christ. So he is in shock looking at what she wrote. And he says, what is that? And I did forget to say that, hey, Dawn made it. Dawn Ness in the house. I love it. I love it, you guys. It's so good to see you all here. Yeah, it's good to see you too. My prayers are with you, girl. Okay, we got to get rid of another one, mods. Where's my moderators? Time to get rid of them. Kick them out. So this writing that we see is old. It's ancient. He identifies it right away. Andrew Kiernan. And she says, I wrote this on a napkin. I don't even know what it means. And he reads it. And this is what's so mind-blowing, you guys. I haven't even discussed this with you yet. He's reading this napkin. He's looking at the wall and he says, the kingdom of God is within you. He says, where did you hear this? She says, I didn't. I don't know who did this. She says, but look at this. And she showed him this huge wall. She says, I have no idea what this is. And as she's doing it, her whole countenance, she's changing. She's completely, and this happens in infestation. And this is what I wanted to bring out here was this image of her with wrinkled skin. She's hunched over. She's actually looking like, one of those just battered, abused, elderly people. And you guys are so funny in chat. What's going on here in this instance is she is transformed, and Andrew Kieran, the priest, has witnessed that not only has she got wounds she can't explain, she has knowledge of a language she can't know. She was waiting for his presence to come, and now she's transformed herself into almost like this old man, this old woman, and all she's doing is writing over and over and over again. So he's got his camera out and he's taking pictures. He's like, oh my gosh, I got to find out what this stuff is, because he doesn't know. He doesn't know what's going on. And he watches her go lay down on the bed, and he hears the droplets of water from the table falling straight up to the ceiling. And as we know, defies gravity. Gravity goes down. That was some pretty freaky. All right, Dawn's gonna cast me to the TV. I'm gonna be loud and proud at the Dawn house. Tell Fingerman I said hi. So we have got Frankie is under infestation, oppression, possession. And I wanted to talk about this before I go into the next scene, because can this happen? Can demons really do this? Can they really give you languages, knowledges, and get you to write stuff you don't know? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And why? What would be the point? Why would a demon infest somebody like this? God's permissible will always sees an opportunity to bring someone to look for him in all things. In this movie, we are witnessing what could be an accurate level of infestation in Frankie. The exposure to the demonic object, or the object that was obsessed by a demonic, the reception of the object, the reception of a person that was not in a state of grace, had no level of faith. And, they always say that, well, how come it's always the Christians that are possessed? How come it's never, the heathens or the pagans, the people that are practicing? Usually, as a general rule of thumb, in the Office of Healing and Deliverance, the devils don't really need to mess with people that are already committing sin, already committing grave sin, already abusing themselves, using themselves in a way that keep them as far as possible from God. They don't need to possess them. They're already doing the devil's work. For the intents and purposes of this movie, it was an illustration that this object could carry something so malevolent and possess her. So Andrew Kiernan has taken these images and sent them back to the Vatican, okay? He's just like, this is crazy, insane. I don't know what's going on here, but this is amazing. His friend at the Vatican says, do not show or share these images with anyone. He's like, why? What's the big deal? What's going on? And he says, this is from a text from Nagamati, 1948, that was sealed and hidden. It was distributed to 3 translators, and each translator got only a part, so that nobody could know what the full text is. He said, why would they do that? He says, I don't know. And then he was watched. The gentleman he was talking to at the Vatican shut his computers down, and he lost the connection. Now, because I'm Catholic, I have to address this. is it possible and is it very likely that the Vatican, oh my gosh, I would give so much just to crawl in their basement and start reading stuff. Do they do this? Do I have firsthand knowledge of it? No. Do I know that they divide manuscripts up for purposes of reasonable clarity, just mortification, for accuracy and unbiased eyes? Yes, they do. This is just because they want to be as thorough as possible and not present anything that could disturb or destroy somebody's faith. This stuff happens all the time, okay? It's not that unusual. And then when, these scrolls, the Nagamati Scrolls, were discovered in 1945, they really didn't know the full extent of the beauty of these things probably till about, I'd say, when they really started looking at them in the late 50s, early 60s, and they realized the Essenes that had wrote these and left these were so, this was a, what do we say? It was a non-homogeneous sect of Christians that were worshiping and loving Jesus in their own way. And it was like the way, but it wasn't the way. And, this is just, early Christian stuff. So in this movie, what they're showing us is that in the movie, there is an undercurrent of lies, deception, and outright hostility towards any truth coming into the church. So I really didn't kind of like that at all. That was just like, all right, you guys, this is a bit much. So after he reports, he finds that, he goes back to see Frankie again. And, Frankie decides, you know what? This is ridiculous. She paints over the entire wall. She gets rid of the wall. She's like, I ain't having it. Don't want it. Get rid of it. Done. And he's like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? She's like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. I don't like it. It's disgusting. It's horrible. And so they go out to lunch, and he says, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And she says, is it true? Is it true? Do I really have this stigmata stuff? And he says, it's possible. He said, usually it's only for holy people. It only comes to holy people who really believe in God, really believe in Jesus, and adhere. So she says, all right, I don't understand this. She says, okay, so how many wounds did you say I was going to get? And she says, so far, I've already got the hands. I've already been pierced in the hands. I've already got, she already got the wounds in the head. She got crowned with thorns when she went out to a bar. And she said, what's next? What's gonna happen to me next? Oh, and she had the scourging on the back. He said, the next thing is going to be the thorn in the side. Nobody's ever had all 5 wounds and survived. And she's like, oh, lovely. This is horrible. So back at the apartment, he goes to see how she's doing again. And something comes over her. He already knew she was infested. He already knew she had issues. But here he is going into her apartment, making sure she's home, and, just checking on her, seeing if she's okay. And she's flirting with him openly, and she gets right in his face and says, what's up with you? What's up with you? What's up? And he's like, I don't know what's going on here, but I have to record this. I have to take care of this. And she's looking at him like a fresh piece of meat on the grill. And she hasn't eaten in a week. He's like, back up. And she pushes him. She's like, what's wrong with you? She's like, haven't you ever seen a woman before? And he says, Frankie, I just want to, yes, and it is the Gospel of Thomas. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. What it is, it's a shock to him because he wasn't expecting her to come on to him. 2, she is fully under the infestation of depression. He doesn't even realize it yet. Her voice changes. She goes gangsta on him and gets mad and throws him. And I think he's convinced there that, you know what? There's something really, really, really wrong with her. He's in shock. He's like, oh my gosh. He has no words. He has no words. But it is the priest's voice that is coming out of her body. It is, it's basically from Andrew Kiernan, the priest's depiction, perception of that for whatever reason, this rogue priest is infesting her. And this is what is the reason for this infestation and possession. Honestly, the demonic here, okay, the demonic incident here in this, come on. All right. The whole concept of a holy priest, even if he's, shall we say, defract, if he's a holy priest, he's living a holy life, the chance that he is going to infest and possess anyone, much less an atheist, 0 to none. Okay? 0 to none. No, it doesn't happen. Can demons do this? Yes, they could. And this is one of the biggest demonic deceptions a lot of people don't understand. But demons will pretend to be your grandma and your grandpa and your mother and your sister and your brother, and they don't, shall we say, they don't distinguish to anything that you would respect, you would hold it in high regard. They're going to find something that is going to draw you in with little pearls. And that's how they're going to get you. And they're not going to go, oh, random opportunity here. I think I'm going to throw a priest in that one. Don't happen. Sorry, folks. I was like, oh, please, come on. Exactly. You know, I got a comment because Donness and Fingerman are in the room. And yeah, stigmata is, and it's not only for holy people. Stigmata is not something that's like passed out like, a Butterfinger because you memorized your times tables. Here, have some stigmata. I'm sorry, this is not funny. But some of the concepts are funny to me because I got to deal with a lot of darkness and ugliness. So if you're offended that I laugh, sorry, but whatever. Stigmata it's a cross. Stigmata is horribly painful. Stigmata is, it's almost as if you woke up every morning and somebody was running over your foot that just broke yesterday, every day, once or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and kept it at that level of pain every single day. And you could do nothing about it except thank God for it, and thank God for it, and thank God for it. Stigmata is stigmata. People that bear stigmata bear it as a gift, as an atonement, as a spirit. And it's hard to get into right here in this movie, and I can do a whole show on stigmata if you guys want me to. Comment below after the show. I'd love to talk about it. It is something that it saves souls. It's an offering. It's a special offering to God, all right? I'm not going to go on anymore about it because I really want to get on with the show, and I will want to keep you guys for 2 hours tonight again, okay? All right, so back to the movie. He sees her change. You know, he sees that Frankie has the power. He's got, or she's got the priest's voice. He's got the strength. She's got incredible wounds that nobody can explain. She's got foreknowledge, and here she is, which is really rare. She's floating in space. This is not common. in Exorcism and Deliverance. The whole facial reconstruction, the broken jaw and stuff hanging out, and then the arms like bending and contorting and all kinds of that like wild stuff. You guys, that happens. It does. However, the levitation does not happen a lot. This again has to be a very, very powerful demonic to do it, and it's usually because demons love to show off. They're smart Alex, you guys. They want to show off. But those are the lower level ones. The big bad ones, oh no, they want to stay. So it usually takes a pretty good priest that's specifically called to get that demon out. So in this instance, he's watching her. She's floating in air. And then she crumbles because, she's being played with by the demonic. He tucks her in bed very carefully. And then he realizes how fragile she is. She's an atheist. She doesn't know anything about God. She's scared. And his protective instincts in the movie are like, oh, I got to take care of her. And of course, it doesn't help. He's a little attracted to her. But yes, that's a good point. Somebody made a good point in chat, and I have to agree with this because the devil appeared to a Saint Gamma, as Christ, and this is what demons do. This is what they do, you guys. So here is this holy priest, and he is actually laying in bed with her. Whoo! Priests don't do that. No. And if they do, they get in bad trouble, you guys. They're not supposed to do that. But, let me tell you that there are many instances where priests will go above and beyond the call of duty because they want to help someone. And I do believe in this movie, this is what they were trying to portray, in a sense that, he did care. However, I did not like the fact that they danced around the line that, he was kind of sexually attracted to her. That happens, okay? That does happen. Priests are human. People are human. They usually, like in this movie, he pushed her away. He just was not going to go for that. No. So here we're going to look at a couple slides in a minute that we've got for next, which is the Vatican steps in. They catch him in bed with her, remove her, throw her into a local diocese office place where, she's going to be looked at. She's going to be checked for stigmata, yada, yada. Andrew Kiernan, the priest here, they tell him, okay, guess what? You're not supposed to be in bed with a woman that has a stigmata when you're supposed to be investigating something, so we want you off the case. He argues with the cardinal, says, wait a second. What's going on? He says, how did you know that writing was Aramaic, and why did you go behind my back? So there's an interplay in this movie of hidden themes of the Vatican is evil and the cardinal is bad, and this priest, this scientific priest, is innocent and he's finding out things. Now, I think that's pretty demonic. The instance that sometimes horror movies have to rip apart holy concepts and make them appear as if they're negative, if they're ugly, they're bad. Because whenever you can taint something that is really beautiful, it invites somebody to think something that might not be real. And it invites them to step into something that, shall we say, not entirely wholesome. So, yeah, I was bothered by it. So let's jump in. Jump. He's kicked off the case, and he doesn't want to. And the cardinal decides, I'm going to exorcise her. I think I might have put that on this slide instead. Yes, I'm sorry. This is a slide. I am just slide happy tonight. I apologize. So this is the cardinal, played by none other than oh gosh, I'm having a spasm in my brain. So I forgot what his name was, but you guys know. So this is the cardinal. He decides that Frankie is going to be exorcised by him and his holy priests, who actually know what this Gospel of Thomas is all about and who have knowledge of it, and they are going to exorcise it out of her. Oh yeah, that cardinal was really vicious, Rosalie. He was just, he was on a mission to destroy anything. Oh my gosh. So, now, what we have here is we have a cardinal that's hiding information, okay? We also have an assistant that's helping the cardinal hide information. And we have Frankie that is about to be strapped to a bed because she is going to be exorcised. And as she's being tied down, she comes into full possession and speaks in the words of that priest and tells the cardinal, "You're evil and you are destroying the church." Now the cardinal's like, "What? Who, me? Who, me? Oh my gosh." So he gets his assistant out because he doesn't want his assistant to hear what's really going on. Now, how demonic is this? You have a woman that's possessed. They believe it's another priest, and you're having a priest that's supposed to help you leave. The accuracy of this I'm finding really difficult to believe because no exorcist that I know of, it's very few exorcists that will even attempt to pray the prayers of exorcism alone. They won't do it because it's just, they can't, one, expose themselves in a way that could hurt them professionally, endanger them spiritually, so they always have assistants, nuns, priests, lay people like me, other people they can decide on, okay? So they get these people in there with them, and they have them help. But this cardinal, he wanted to shut this priest up. So what this guy says is, he's like, all right, for whatever reason, you are not going to destroy my church. And the cardinal is talking to the priest inside Frankie, all right? So, doesn't want his church destroyed. He's like, I'm going to choke the life out of her. And that's what this guy does. He was evil. I'm telling you, he was so evil. And here it shows, the scene with the sister and the priest and, the cardinal. And I blurred out her face, so I didn't want you guys to see how bloody and awful that looked. But he truly believed that information could destroy the church. This is where Andrew Kiernan comes in and says, he races in, he sees the other priest, and he wants to stop the exorcism. And he says, you can't go in there. The cardinal's, praying over her. And he's trying to drive out a demon of lust. Can you believe this? Okay, all right. I'm sorry. If you're going to do an exorcism to get rid of a priest that is supposedly going to destroy your church, are you going to say, I command you to leave, you demon of lust? Okay. I don't know how that happened, but demon of lust was like on the low end of the totem pole of the problems this gal had. But Andrew Kiernan rushes in to save the day because he catches the cardinal trying to choke her to death. Which, all right, okay, let's go into the whole demonic and possession thing now. If somebody is in full possession and they're growling and they're snarling and they're talking in another voice, they've got the strength of 1,000 bulls. So that was a bull, okay? But there's that cardinal choking the life out of her. And she's holding still and she's taking it. I know, right, Lori? It's like, oh my gosh. All right, so we have somebody that's possessed. They can kill this cardinal and they have the strength to do it. But she's getting choked to death and the other priest has got to jump in and save her. But that's what he does. He pulls the cardinal off of him, throws him in the hallway. And this is why we get to go back to this last slide. He threw the cardinal in the hallway and he says, I know all about you. I know what you did. I know what you hid. And that was the big thing. I'm going to show you that in a minute. He knew all about Nagamati, the Gospel of Thomas. And that's what we were talking about earlier, okay? The Gospel of Thomas is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful book. It is not approved by the Vatican. It is a written account of supposedly what Jesus told his disciples. It's believed to be one of the earliest one, but not by the church. The church denied it as hearsay, and they snuck this in almost as a way to show what the whole movie, it was like an undercurrent throughout the whole movie. And it was just kind of, it was more of a distraction than anything else. And this exorcism, however, was pretty interesting. It was potent in the fact that Andrew Kiernan had to get her to come to her senses because he could not. He wanted to help Frankie, all right? And Frankie was trapped by whatever demonic was possessing her, and the room filled with flames. And it was really just incredible how they portrayed this with the cardinals out of there. Andrew Kiernan goes in there to exorcise her. Okay, guys, I'm sorry, but I have to look at my notes for this because I'm sorry, but I just I'm sorry. Movies. All right. He looks at her, sees her sitting up, and all these flames. He says, "Are you Paul Alameda?" No. I know this is supposed to be, do demons really do that? How about do priests really do that? They do not do that. Okay? You don't have a priest walking into an exorcism and saying, "Hey, by the way, are you?" No, they don't do that. And then he says something. This was another thing, and I'm sorry I'm not laughing, but I just find it rather interesting how they did the movie. The next thing he says is he's like, "Okay, give me your wisdom." Is that like, take me to your leader? Okay, come on, people. He says, "Let me be your messenger." Okay, so we've got a priest that's trying to exorcise something out of Frankie. Let me be your messenger. Is that like, let me be your boo? Come on. Okay, this is a horror movie that's all of a sudden totally lost all credulity. Period. Priests don't talk like that, for one. Two, in this sense, can demons do that stuff? Yes, demons can cause the flames to shoot. They can cause, and that was the interesting thing about the whole scene, was the flames were in the room, but they touched nothing of the room. And this is a perfect example of demonic illusion that can happen during an exorcism. You're seeing and you're feeling the heat, but it ain't there. And you're like, you're praying, "Oh, Mary, Jesus, Joseph," and you're doing your litany of the saints, and it's like, you never address it. You never go, "Hey, are you so-and-so?" No. But in this movie, we're going to go along with the movie. He does. He asks. And the priest's voice comes out of her and says, "How can you be a messenger? You don't have faith and you don't believe anything." No. It doesn't happen that way. No. Will demonics make fun of priests and talk like that? Yes, they will. So I'm not making fun of priests. I was just, they got so much of this movie specifically directed toward exorcism, possession, and they had so many good points. This could have been something that was pretty informative, and it was actually kind of raucous and horror-filled and just kind of all over the board with this whole exorcism thing of Frankie at the end. So, supposedly, Father Alameda, that was possessing her, jumps out of Frankie into him. We're all happy now. Okay? Everything's good. He carries her out into the garden, and she's all good. Totally. The end of the movie. The end of the movie shows that Father Kiernan goes back, and he goes back to Bella Quinto. He goes back to that statue that he was going to remove, and he looks underneath the statue. And this is where he finds this original scroll, this Gospel of Thomas, that everybody was so afraid of, that was going to destroy the entire church. And it's almost as if, he's so fascinated by, this gospel that says the kingdom of God is within you. Turn over a stone, I am there. Slice a piece of wood, cut a piece of wood, and I'm there. And of course, this is the beauty of the Essenes. The Essenes were full of poetry and writing. And, did Jesus really say that? I could see him saying that. I mean, Jesus loved people so much. And he was constantly using parables and stories. Could he have said that? Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wasn't around then. I'm not quite that old. But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful concept. And it's interesting how they wrapped this whole end of the movie like this. So the end of the movie is kind of, in a way, directed toward the whole stigmata thing. We have a priest that gave somebody stigmata, but this priest don't get the stigmata, even though he got like the possession transferal thing. So who got the stigmata? I don't know. I'm curious. I have no idea. Okay, so the sum total of the movie was inaccurate as far as a lot of the Catholicism points go, and a lot of the church go. A lot of the can demons do this stuff? Pretty out of the ballpark accurate. A little sporadic in places, but it kept it, shall we say, it was an interesting dissection for me. I hadn't seen this movie since it came out because it was so, shall we say, it was very blasphemous. It was very negatively skewed toward the Catholic Church. And I've got one question I've got to answer before I get to go away, guys. I'm so glad you came. Thank you for all my super chats tonight, you guys. You guys really rocked it. I love all the conversation going on. So I got a question. Can a person be delivered if they don't believe in God? The question ought to be, how would a person know that they were even possessed if they don't believe in God? What would they believe is possessing them? So, oh my, and here we have our joy toy coming in again. Let's just get rid of her. We are going to look at one other question. Matt, thank you so much. It's good to see you. Yeah, if it comes out of Hollywood, it is totally bizarre. And yeah, I totally agree. There's so much stuff that comes out of Hollywood that warps your thinking and is invitational and is just, it's really, there's so much garbage. There are a few good movies, but most of it is just total garbage. So, yeah. Any other questions before I say, c'est la vie, till the next movie time? I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you so much for Super Chat. Thank you for joining in with the questions and having fun. Thank you to my moderators. And thank you all for helping me do this ministry and help people out and understanding what the cultural objective is to just kind of like keep us all brainwashed and thinking this is the norm, and helping learn about faith, about Christianity, and about, what it is to have that great peace and, enjoy our faith and share it with other people, because guess what? That's what it's all about. So, as I always say, never forget the battle's already been won. Already. And hopefully Swords of St. Michael is here to help you win the fight and win it right, folks. Woohoo! All right. God bless you all. Good night. And we end on this happy note. Our wrestling is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and against the rulers of the world of darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in high places. Ephesians. God bless and good night.